We are live, we are back. Thank you very much for those who are waited. I've had a few weeks off because I've had my own work to do. It's a volunteer job. But we are live today. We are on live number 96, I believe, and it's with the amazing Rachel, who's going to tell us all about her hairdressing journey and the biggest achievement probably that I could have achieved myself. She's gone and done it, so well played to her. We are going to interview her live, but for those who are just joining in now, let us know where you're watching from. And why it's not coming up as a live. Bear with me at 1 minute. Is it live on Facebook? That's a problem I've got here. No, I can't use my phone. Let me go. Bear with me. This might be a test run, this one.
Maybe a few technical issues going. I'm going to be looking at both screens. I'm going to try and get it so I can kind of look in the same direction. Otherwise, I'm going to be like looking one side to the other.
I know. Yeah, this is a multi.
There we go, I think that's better.
This is a multitasking job. Right, hang on.
This was like, I want to go on Instagram as well.
We are live. We're live on different platforms, guys. Right, I'm just going to share this to the group, and then I'm going to hand over. And we've got an amazing live today because it's one of my favourite competitions. In fact, it's not one of mine. It is my favourite competitions. And we're going to talk about how you got there. Yeah, well, this is how we met. This is what brought me to you in an indirect way, and I'm going to tell you all about that in a minute. But first of all, here we are. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. So good. I'm so good to be on. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, honestly, it's my pleasure, but I think my phone's playing too much. I can't mute. Do you know you can't mute it? There we go. Let's put that. For those of you that have just joined in, we are live on Instagram. What is your Instagram for people that want to find you?
My Instagram is Rachel Whitehair.
Rachel Whitehair. There you go. And we've got lots of questions for you today, mainly from myself. But if you guys want to get your questions in, please do so. And we are going to talk about, I think it's the longest running competition, hairdressing competition. Is that right?
It is, yeah. I might be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think this year makes it the longest.
Wow.
Running competition. So yes, 6 years this year.
Two of us can't be wrong on that. I'm sure that's correct. And we have the L'Oreal Colour Trophy 2022 grand finalist, everything winner, because there's regionals, but we have the grand finalist winner, Rachel. How does that feel?
Hey. Honestly, like I can't get my head around it, and I know I'm saying that, but I think it has started to sink in. And when we talk a little bit more about it, we did the winners shoot a couple of weeks ago, and being on set then with the whole L'Oreal team and amazing photographer Jan Humes as well, and that was the time when we were shooting my winning look that it actually finally started to sink in a little bit. I was stood there and I was like, wow, like we did it, we're here, this is amazing. Like, it's so overwhelming on the actual night. You kind of don't have enough time for it to kind of like sink in. And then coming back to the salon afterwards, obviously it's just normal life and you've got your normal clients and, you know, life just carries on. So even then you're like, did that happen? Like, I don't know, like I've got this big trophy, but I don't know, did it happen? And then it's not until after and you get to experience something like the winner's shoot, and yeah, that's probably when it sunk in for me, definitely.
Well, I've just messed up because I've clicked off your live. I'm going to come back onto it though. Invite me again if it hasn't. I tried to move the phone away because for some reason it can still hear it and it's coming back. So I tried to move the phone further away, and now I've lost complete live on there.
I can see on my Instagram. Yeah, I've just got your palm on the screen.
Right, well, it's gone off on my end and I can't get it back on. So if you can send me another invite, that'd be awesome. So you've.
Right.
Oh, what's going on?
I get that sorted.
So you have obviously been into the Colour Trophy. You've gone and won it this year, but that's not the first time you've won something at the Colour Trophy, is it?
No, so 6 years ago, back in 2015, so that was the 60th anniversary that year of the Colour Trophy, I entered what is now the Star Award. It was called the Young Colourist Award that year. And I won it that year, which was incredible. That was the first time I'd ever entered the competition. That was my first actual introduction to the competition as well. I'd never I'd done hair competitions, obviously. Yeah, it's the first time I'd ever properly done anything with L'Oreal as well. And I know it sounds a bit much, but it changed my career completely. It did, and it led on to so many other opportunities with the brand as well. So.
My Instagram is not loaded. Let me just turn the Wi-Fi off and on. But what I want to ask you is, for those of that have never heard of the Colour Trophy, what is the difference between winning the Star Award and what we'll go into later, winning the actual Colour Trophy?
So the Star Award is the under 25 category, basically. Okay. I think that's why they called it the Young Colour category before. So it was, for the younger stylists. And then went into the main category. You're up with the big people, the big boys and girls. It's a lot scarier.
I bet it is.
With everyone then.
I bet it is, because there's been some unbelievable hairdressers in there. I remember when I started getting into it, I saw Sophia Hilton. I remember Harriet Stokes winning the Star Award. These are awards that are won by the industry's biggest names. We had a little bit of a debate, actually. I put it onto the page earlier on. Now, it wasn't to cause a stir. It was just an general inquiry. Well, it's going quiet. It's going louder. So it was just to ask everybody what their thoughts were on what's the biggest thing nowadays. Is it winning awards? Is it the amount of followers you've got? What does the industry, and I'm talking about the brands, take more seriously these days? What's your opinion?
I would hope that it's, that's tricky. That's a really tricky one, actually. I think it's moving toward more of a whole package for people, really, I suppose. It's tricky because you say with the follower situation, but if you produce good work, then, but it's a whole different skill set, I feel, and it can be quite tricky for some people. You know, I don't have a huge following on Instagram. I love it. I love producing my work, but I feel I don't have enough consistency or the right stamina to kind of keep up as much as I can, and I do have long breaks on it. And I know that a lot of people feel the same way that I do. Like, there's quite a lot of pressure there. And what I like about the competition side of things is it's just you and your work, and it just gets judged on that. And it's kind of it's a bit more insular, I suppose. But yeah, it's kind of just your craft, not just your craft is amazing, but you're also amazing at social media and producing content. So obviously then you're going to have a really big following. Whereas in the competition environment, it's just hair. That's why I love it. That's why I love competition so much.
See, I struggled to answer it myself, and I found that rather interesting because people obviously talking about it. I asked for their opinions, but obviously the way I explained it probably wasn't clear because people were saying, "Nah, they make you successful," and I'm like, "Well, that wasn't my question." But my thing has always been I wanted to win the Colour Trophy, and I was massively invested in it from a very young sort of hairdressing age. Where I went to the hair show, I looked at it, I seen the people on stage, and I just thought I want to be one of them guys. And I remember thinking to myself, how do I get on that stage? How do I become a part of that team? And I found that there was things called the L'Oreal ID team, and obviously me and you, this is where we met.
Yeah, it was, and I love that as well. It's so good, and I love. They say when you get on the team and you sit down in that room for the first time, and they're talking to you, and they say, you know, people who have been on the ID previously have done this, and you're sat there and you're like, wow. But as you come out of it, and how many years ago were we on it? Was it 4 years ago? I think maybe
6 years ago, you know.
Because I think I did it the year after I did Colourist, so maybe 5 years ago. And it just see the progression of everybody since then. That's what really shows, and that's amazing. So it can really kind of nurture and kind of push you. And I think it just opens your mind as well as to what's possible and kind of what's out there, which is really cool.
Before we have got some images we're going to go into in a second. So for those of you that are watching, if you could press share, get your friends involved. We're going to show the winning look and how you created it. We can ask questions, but I just want to read out some of these. Sandra won. Our young stylist entered, and she loved the experience. It's now called what's it called? No, the Star Award. It's something different.
Star Award, yeah.
Yeah, and then Kelly Parsons says, "Well done," and then I can't read that, but yeah, love art and ours.
That's my friend Effie.
Epi, sorry, right? I'm the guy that gets it wrong, so I've just learnt not to say it. So she says, "Well done," and thank you for watching, guys. That's awesome. If you could all press share. So we're going to go into your winning look now. For those of you that haven't seen it, this is the L'Oreal Colour Trophy 2022 winning look. Oh, hang on, not that one. It's this one. There we go. Just talk us through your look. So there you can see everybody, the model with the blonde hair. Are they both your models or are they finalists?
So I will tell you, the model on the right is a girl who works with me, so my colleague, Esther Wood.
Yep.
She is incredible hairdresser. Do you know Esther? Did you ever meet her?
Yeah.
She was on ID. Yeah, she's amazing. So this was actually the winning look for the Colour Specialist Award. So This year was the first ever Colour Specialist category in the Colour Trophy. And Esther smashed it. She brought home the trophy. It was amazing.
That is incredible. For those of you who don't know, Colour Specialist, it is where you can basically, you learn the science of hair, you get the degree. It's a degree in it, am I right in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a degree in science of hair, basically, and then if you have that certificate, you can then enter that category. So that is an amazing achievement. So tell us about your look before we go into the images of what's inspired you. What colours have you used?
So the colours, for my look, I want to talk about inspiration first because it kind of led me. No, it's fine. For my colour choice, really, I just wanted to create something this year that was just simple, effortless, and beautiful, and that's all I wanted to do. I think sometimes we can be a little bit scared to do something that's too kind of like simple and a little bit too safe. I wouldn't say that this look was safe at all. Once we get onto the before and after, as you'll see, the work that went into creating the look. But I just wanted to create something that was beautiful and just simple, but just beautiful really, and just effortless, and kind of when you look at it, you're kind of like, oh wow, yeah. A, I would wear that, and B, the way that it moves, the way that it works with the outfit, definitely needed to, be healthy, shiny, stunning hair, basically. I didn't want to go too crazy with it, with crazy colour placements or anything like that. Just really, I wanted to keep it simple and not overcomplicate things. I think a lot of the time we can overcomplicate it. I know that I have in the past with my entries as well. But yeah, it's not about that. It's kind of just like refining everything, but making sure that what you do is perfect, and it actually has to be like completely perfect.
Well, I'm glad you kind of bring that in, because someone who tries to win this competition year after year after year, I think I've entered it 11 times and I've never even got to the grand final, but I've got to the regionals every single time. So I think that you've just given some great advice without even meaning to give it there, because you've basically said you wanted to do what you do in a salon, keep it simple, keep it beautiful, keep it elegant, and try to not overcomplicate it. And I think that's where I go wrong, and maybe many others go wrong every single year, because I definitely overcomplicated to try and almost say, look, I know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because you say, obviously I'm kind of like, it's simple, and I think people can be like, oh, but it's not. There's the effort that goes into it, and I think that's the key thing as well. Previous years, I think it was 2018, we got to the final, and that was the closest that we got to getting placed before.
Yeah.
I adored my look that year, loved the hair, loved the outfit, everything. But the hair, when we prepped the hair for the competition, it wasn't perfect, basically. The colour wasn't perfect.
Well,
and
I was going to ask you about
I knew that it...
What went wrong?
Okay, so... Oh God. So I had only done her hair for the regionals. So she wasn't my model for the photo shoot. Because for those of you that don't know, the Colour Trophy is 3 rounds of the Colour Trophy, basically. So you have your initial photographic entry. If you get through that round, you go to the live finals, which are the live regional finals, sorry. If you get through the regional finals, then you go to the final. So I didn't have the same model for the photo shoot for the regionals, which is fine. That happens for a lot of people. So I'd only done her hair once before. Classic me, I'd, scalp bleached all of it and was toning it. Shocker. And but because I'd only done it once before, the next time that I did it, I didn't follow the same procedure that I had done. So basically, she ended up with a band through this midsection. And I kind of feel if at any point through the process of you putting together your look, or at any point during the process of you preparing and doing your colour, doing the work, if you ever think at any time, oh, that will do, it's already not good enough. And that's what happened to me that year. Is I thought, well, it'll be okay. Maybe I didn't have enough time, or whatever happened. And it actually got to the point where we were staying in London the night before, and I was with my colleague Ellie Kirby. Shout out to Ellie, honestly, she's amazing. Couldn't do any of this without her. She was with me, she always is. And I said to her, I was like, I think I need to colour her hair. And we bought some colour with it, but I didn't do it in the salon. I'd waited last minute and thought I could do it in the hotel room. And my poor model, Olivia, was over the bath in Premier Inn somewhere in London. And I'm trying to retone the ends of her hair. It looked great on day. We managed to,
So this is the day before the grand final.
What I produced, but this was the night before the grand final. And she's over the bath in the hotel. Honestly, something always happens, and yeah, it did. But I managed to get the colour kind of okay, but I needed my stock, I needed everything, and I didn't have everything with me. And it was kind of it came down to me at the end of the day, because I had thought, oh, it'll be okay. If you ever have that feeling, it's not going to be okay. And what I should have done was, bleached, lifted that band out, and then retoned it all back together again. But I didn't, and you would have had a better chance that year. But the key is that you learn from these experiences, and I learned from it. And even coming into it this year, we did have an incident that was kind of similar to that. So I was preparing her hair on Saturday before, obviously, the competitions on the Sunday. And, as you do, I just got a clip out the drawer. I'd done her hair was done. I was just blow drying in the salon. I think everyone can relate to this as well a little bit. So I just got a clip out of the drawer, put the clip in her hair to here, to section, took it out, and there was a tiny little brown dot that was obviously a colour, had been on a clip. And I put it into her hair, and I didn't know it was there, obviously. And I'm looking at Ellie, and no joke, we had 45 minutes before we had to get our coach to London. And I'm looking at Ellie, and I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, it's up to you. I can't make this decision. So I had to basically spot bleach this tiny little patch of colour. This is for this year. This is for literally my winner for this year. I had to spot bleach out this tiny little bit of colour, and then I had to basically, it was one strand of hair, and I retoned, I washed it out, retoned the whole thing. But it's making those decisions. It's not just thinking, oh, this is going to be okay. Maybe they're going to see it. They're obviously going to see it. But it's going through that whole effort of spot bleaching, rinsing, retoning that strand of hair. Honestly, it's probably about this big. It was tiny. But for me, it wasn't perfect. So we had to go through that whole process on the clock, 45 minutes. We got to go.
So this image that we've got on YouTube and Facebook here, obviously, sorry Instagram for those watching there, you can't see the images. But so this is the winner's image, is it? Is this the one that's done on the day of the final, or is this done later on?
So the image that is just a headshot of the winning look, that is actually the photograph that we shot. That was my entry, my original entry image. Yeah, so we did do a shoot, we did do the winner's shoot.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag, but I'm keeping up.
I did it earlier as well. It was my bad. So yeah, this is the finals then. So let's just go back into this image here, which shows the sectioning pattern. And I'm just going to move you over there. So obviously, I don't understand. In fact, I'm going to put that image next to this sectioning pattern because I am not a colorist, but obviously this will be easy for other people that colour hair all day, every day to understand. So just talk us through your application.
Yeah. So originally she was probably about base 7. Laura, my model, she had really long hair. So by the time she had some colour in the end, by the time we cut it off, obviously it was all completely a base 7. So I basically platinum colored the whole lot, completely bleached it all up to around a base 9, 10.
Wow.
With the section and the placement of the colour, I love the face frame. I love a face frame. And I was like, I can't just do a small face frame. I was like, I want it to be chunky. I want it to be obvious. So basically, straight to the back of the ear. And the front section is basically 903. That's it. Really, really simple. With a tiny little bit of 9.3 in there. And in the back section, you've got the 9.3. But I wanted it to have a little bit more substance to it. And obviously, if the hair's a little bit sensitized, you can just add a little bit more warmth in there. So we put a little bit of the 834 in there just to kind of give it a little bit of scaffolding, if you will, to make sure that 9.3 can really sit on there and be nice and shiny. And you can see the contrast in the colour was the main thing for me. It had to be perfect. It was kind of, it couldn't be too much, but it couldn't be not enough as well. It had to be noticeable when you saw her from the side, but not so noticeable when you saw her from the front. That was what I wanted to achieve. And yeah,
I absolutely love it. And the fact that you earlier on, we'll go back to what you said, you wanted to keep it simple and elegant and beautiful and effortless. I think that's doing it a disservice because this seems like there was so much work, especially in the prep work going into this. I feel like as a man who bleaches a lot of heads, I don't know whether it's an age thing, but I like to lift everything as white as I can get it before I even colour it.
Yeah.
And I think that when you've been in that position and you think, and you put the colour on and it's overtoning or it's undertoning, the sweat that starts to build on you and you're like, oh my God, it's not going to work. That is a lot of stress to go through. So hats off to you for doing that and achieving that unbelievable look. Well done, by the way. What else was I going to say? For those that are going to enter this next year, because obviously 2023 you can't enter because you've won it. I'm right there, Anna? You can't enter now.
You know what? I'm not sure on that at all, but yeah.
I don't think you can enter.
I can take it, my nerves.
Yeah. I don't think you can. But anyway, what would you say to those hairdressers that are watching this? Because obviously we get so many rewatchers. We get hundreds and thousands of rewatchers later on. What would you say to those that are wanting to enter the competition world? Because I can tell you from my experience, even though I've never won this competition, it opened my eyes to the industry. So what is your advice to those that are going into hairdressing competitions?
So I would say just go for it. I know that sounds, really easy to say, but you can only experience it if you're in it and if you're actually competing as well. In terms of your kind of look and what you want to do, obviously there's the brief. So you need to read the brief and decide what it means for you as well. And once you have an idea of what you want, I'd say just don't compromise on anything at all. If you have your vision and your look and the way that you want to go about it, just don't compromise. Even, small things. With my look this year, I went through about 6 pairs of shoes because they just weren't the right ones. It's even small things like that, it's kind of, if the colour's not completely right, that's fine. Just go back in, work it out, see what's going to happen. Don't just be like, oh, that'll be okay, because you won't be happy with it in the end. And at the end of the day, you need to be happy with your look. And as long as you're happy with your look, it doesn't matter. Like the outcome, honestly, it doesn't matter. If you've created some beautiful work that you love, you're going to have pictures, you're going to have memories of that. You're also going to learn for next year as well. So just go for it. Don't compromise on on your look and your vision, and yeah, have fun basically, because that's about as well, just enjoying yourself with it.
I love that. I mean, this is a very personal question, so feel free to ignore it. Feel free to make up an answer. But how much do you have to budget for a competition like this? As a winner, I want to know what genuinely you feel like was a budget for this competition.
Okay, so the next thing that I was going to say as well is the environment that you're working in is really important as well. So you are going to need support. You know, for me, I've been so lucky to be in a salon and in a space where my manager has just said, crack on, Rachel. You know, he's given me, you know, full creative reign and just let me go on off and do my own thing. My model, I actually scouted her on social, so I scouted her on Instagram. So you don't need like a huge budget for it. We didn't do it on a big budget. She's amazing model, like she's absolutely incredible. She's up and coming. I found her a really space in her career where it hadn't, you know, it didn't cost us like thousands and thousands of pounds to enter the competition. It just didn't, and it doesn't have to be like that either as well. You know, we're all creatives. We love networking. We love talking to people. You can do it on a budget if you need to do it on a budget, and I'd say that we did as well this year. Really, you know, it's just these things. We've got someone in house who does cut for us, which is amazing. So.
We've got a great question from Hair by Paula coming. But before that, rather than, I know it was a bit of a personal question, and I don't mean to sort of out you that, but I'm just interested because I'm a man that never paid for his models, and because I've never won, I've always wondered if that's why.
I'm just trying to turn this down on this side because I keep hearing you on the screen.
It's alright.
Wouldn't say. Yeah, I wouldn't say that would be the deciding factor, really, because no, I wouldn't say it comes down to the hair at the end of the day. Like it really does, and the whole kind of finished package and the whole look and everything. And it shouldn't be one of these things. It should be about talent. It shouldn't be about how much money I can throw at the situation. It will just land, you know, because this salon is a family-run business. You know, my manager, he's owned this salon, and we've now got another salon as well, which has been like 5 years. So this salon was 12 years on the 13th of July this year, and he's grown it all himself, which is, it's amazing. So we're not, you know, a big salon that's got like, you know, loads of locations all over and all of that, you know, financial backing. It's finding a way to make it work for you. And I've always scouted my models on social media, on Instagram. And what's a really useful tip for scouting model, simply all that I will do is I will search the city where I am, Bristol, and then I'll search model, and then that's it. And I will just, it takes a while, obviously, just go through the posts, go through the photos, people's faces will come up, and click on the page, put some more pictures. For me, because we're close to London, I'll also search London model as well. So just search on the hashtags, the city where you're from, and then model, and then just have a look and have a look, scout through.
Before I ask Paula's question, I want to ask you, so you said you're employed. Sorry, it's feedback on here.
I'll try and turn it on the other side.
It happened with me earlier, that's why I was trying to take it down, don't worry. It happens. These are the things about being live. So while you try and sort that, I'll ask you the question anyway. Why did you choose? Why do you think it's beneficial for you as a person being employed over self-employed? Because so many people feel like they need to be self-employed in this industry at the minute. I want to ask you what are the benefits of being employed in this situation?
For me, the support that I get from my salon at this moment in my career is invaluable. It gives me a safe space where I can do work like this, and when, you know, for example, with the winner's shoot, I had to rearrange my clients last minute. I couldn't be doing that all myself because I was doing clients at the time. So we've got a reception team that looks after that time stuff for me as well. So it's just little things like that. And yeah, at different times in your career, you're going to need to be in different spaces. And I think it's really important to make sure that if where you are isn't working for you, change, move somewhere else, try something different, do your research. You know, there's no harm in looking around and doing your research. For me, it's this. I like the security as well of being employed, and I feel the team atmosphere, and everyone gets behind each other and supports each other. Even when we're going to, these industry events, there's always loads of us going, and it's like a really nice kind of family feel. And yeah, of course, you're going to get that anywhere that you go because you connect with people, and I'm sure when you're self-employed working in a different space, you're going to get that as well. But I don't feel that you'll really get as much as that as if you're in a salon where you're kind of.
I completely agree, instant. And the reason I asked that question is because it's something that, as a salon owner, I tell my staff all the time that the easiest thing in the world is to be employed. I promise you that, because being self-employed is so much more difficult. You've got another world of stress. But I think that they think I'm just saying that because I don't want them to leave, and I swear to God I'm not. If they want to go, they can go. But what I'm saying is, if they want to be supported, and I've made, because honestly my staff get dragged from pillar to post. I'm like, go and do that, do this, do that, you should do it. Sometimes I feel like I'm pushing them to do it. And like you said about this family feel, and I'm saying it because one thing that my first employer did, even though we didn't get on, is open my eyes to the world outside of my town of hairdressing, and it's something I didn't even know existed because I was young, and he took me to a competition, and that was instantly my bug. That's where I knew I wanted to be, and now I'm sat with the winner of it, and yeah, it's incredible. But Paul has asked a question, and I want to get it in before I forget. She said, how has it benefited you entering this competition, or in your case, I have to say, winning it?
So I can answer, yeah, for both of those, I suppose. So entering a competition for me, I know this sounds like super cliche, but I am genuinely always in competition with myself first. I really, really am. I feel that competition work for me, and the way that it's benefited me through my career is it really pushes me to be better. It pushes me to be better than I was yesterday or last year or 2 years ago. It really helps me kind of analyse my hairdressing and my craft as well, and kind of it helps me to refine it, and it helps me to push myself and kind of open my mind to kind of what's possible out there. In terms of benefiting from winning this year, I think a lot of people feel like you win the colour trophy and then you get handed the rest of your career, but it doesn't happen like that. It just doesn't at all. You've got to go out there and make it work for you off of the platform that you have. So it's obviously good to have the exposure, but you have to still work with it, and you have to want to do those things as well, and kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone to kind of make it really benefit for you.
Oh, yeah, there's a great answer to that, because the competitions are obviously, the world of hairdressing is so available to anybody who wants to enter these competitions. But people that get to the top, and I look at these people, and people will say all day long, they'll come up with criticisms. And I'm not talking about obviously us, I'm talking about the people that we look up to, and they'll be like, oh, I don't know how he's there, I don't know. It's because they work and they graft and they've got there by their own. People think that these hairdressers are lucky, and you've hit the nail on the head there. They're not lucky. They've had to graft, because just because you won this competition doesn't mean it's going to be handed to you, and I love that. So thank you for that. What was your next project then? Because obviously you've won the colour trophy. What are you going to do now? Because I don't know what I'd do if I won it, because that's all I've had my bloody tunnel vision on.
So really, really excited for this next year. So I am head of the arts team at Blog Salons, and we're basically going to be refining the arts team, and there's hopefully going to be a lot more kind of creative opportunities for us. But we're going to start by putting together a collection, which I am so excited about.
Awesome.
I'm literally yeah. I'm so excited that I was even planning, whilst I was on the winner's shoot, I had like a day off. And I'm like in my hotel room, like planning the collection. I'm so excited for it.
That
Really,
is
really
incredible,
excited.
and I
But
hope
yeah,
that you
Blogs
use that
Arts team.
collection and go forward with that to things like British Hair Awards now, because that, I feel like, is the pinnacle of sort of awards in Britain, definitely, in my opinion.
Oh my. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they scare me a lot actually.
Yeah, they do, mate.
Those
I've never
awards.
entered it.
I've never entered, but it's a dream to enter, right? It's an
Yeah.
absolute dream to even enter that. So yeah.
And that's another benefit to being employed. You know, you've got someone here who's saying, you know, we believe in you, we want to back you, and we want to help you get to the sort of next level. And I love that. And hats off to your employer. Kelly Majid has said congratulations, all the way from Atlanta. She watches it from Atlanta. She watches the other lives in the US. So you're now gone global. So just tell it, Kelly, for those of you that are tuning in or rewatching later on, where can they find your work if they want to find more of you?
So I'm on Instagram. So it is Rachel White Hair is my Instagram handle.
Yeah, and if you just tuned in, this is the winning colour trophy look from L'Oreal. I don't know what if they have it in America. I presume they do, but I actually don't know.
I think they do. I think every country has their own colour trophy competition.
And is it right that
it's really...
when we was at the colour, when we did the RD team once, and we were all meeting up, and the winner from England and Ireland and everyone else, don't they have like an internal competition as well?
So yeah, 2 days before we did the winner's shoot for the L'Oreal Colour Trophy, I basically shot my entry for the international Colour Trophy competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the international one?
Which is mad.
Just all the winners.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah. It's so crazy. So I think we find out. So we enter in the semi-finals. So we're essentially in the semi-finals. It's called the Style and Colour Competition. So it's L'Oreal and it's international. So yeah, we are getting into that, which is absolutely crazy. It's wild, actually.
When do you find
I kind of
out
knew
that?
that we had to do it, but until I September.
Wow. That is incredible. I'm so sorry about the delay, guys. It's not normally like this. I don't know why it's doing it. Well, I had another question for you, and I can't find where it was now. But it's just this is why I do. I get on a little ramble, and then I forget where I was. Tips on work-life balance. So, obviously, creatives. Before we go, I just want to say, like, obviously, the competition work is not the be-all and end-all. Followers is not the be-all and end-all. It's all about enjoying your job. So, what do you do to keep that buzz, keep that excitement, and have a good work-life balance?
So is that to keep the work-life balance, or kind of?
Yeah. Sorry. So how do you do to keep it sort of like to keep everything? You have a good work-life balance. That's the question. Sorry, my computer keeps glitching out. How do you have a good work-life balance?
So yeah, I think for that, yeah. So I think for that, within our industry, I think we don't really give ourselves enough credit for how emotionally draining our work can be. I think, you hear a lot of the time, oh, she's not just my hairstylist, or he, she, they are not just my hairstylist, they're my therapist as well. So I think it's always important to try and find some time for yourself. And I know it's kind of a lot easier said than done, but I mean, whilst you're at work as well, it's really important to take a break. Even if it's just 15 minutes while your colour's developing, make sure you sit down and eat something. We all have those days where you don't get a break, and obviously we've all worked in a salon in December. It's absolutely crazy, but I think it's almost people are like, oh well, no, I don't take a lunch break, or I'm fully booked all day. Cool, that's fine some of the time, but you really need to look after yourself. You need to look after your physical health. You need to look after your mental well-being, which is really, really important. Our clients offload onto us all day long. It's draining. It really can be. So just make sure that when you're in the salon, you've got a safe space out the back. You've got a staff room. where you can sit down, decompress, you know, literally, even if it's 15 minutes, half an hour, amazing, until you can, you know, get back out on the floor and give your clients that amazing experience that they're there for. But also, yeah, make sure having, you know, actual proper days off, chilling out, looking after yourself, it's really, really important. We don't give ourselves enough credit for how emotionally and physically taxing our job is, I think, sometimes.
No, honestly, I can't agree with you more. Like it seems to be a thing in our industry that if we have a gap, we're available. Do you know what I mean? If we have like a half an hour lunch break,
Yeah.
and then the client don't get it though either, do they? They walk in and they'll be like, "Oh, you're not busy," and I can't tell you the stress I get when I hear that sentence. "Oh, you're not busy today because you're on time or because you've got a lunch break," and then I'm like, "You have no idea, mate."
I know, it's so true.
Oh, well, honestly, Rachel, like, I thank you so much for coming on board, and I will have a chat with you as soon as we finish the live. But I think I will basically end the live there, and unless you've got anything you want to throw in or say to everybody, and just remind everyone where they can find more of your work.
I think I just want to say thank you to you, Simon, because creating this page for us and the hairdressers in such a time that we all really, really needed it as well. It was amazing. Like, it was really amazing. You know, through lockdown, it kept a lot of us going, and it was really, really cool to see our fellow colleagues that we've worked with. You know, they were doing their lives, they were doing their demos, keeping that conversation going. It really helped us to all connected. So I just want to say thank you, really.
Honestly, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but I am actually bright red right now. But honestly, you're welcome. We have the next generation of hairdressing royalty on, and I thank you for coming on. You've done an amazing thing, and I do want to say, and I want to reiterate, that I have entered this competition, I think it's 11 times. I've been in 11 regionals. To win this competition is not easy, and what you've done is an amazing achievement. So hats off to you, and I think you deserve it. No one who wins this unless they deserve it. I'll tell you that right now. So you definitely deserve it.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And don't forget, guys, we are going to be live next week. I haven't announced the artist yet because he's not texting me back. But we are live next week, and I'll just have a quick chat with Rachel off air. But thank you so much.